we head into the next turn, at the start of Birdsong, before I get my wood, I get a card, but somebody else does too, and that's the tricky part. Who do I give that card to? The person least likely to hurt me, well, I'm not sure about that. He has me as an enemy and is hunting down my points. Might seem to be the raccoon. Obviously, the Woodland Alliance is heavily poised to attack me, staying away from the birds, etc. On the other hand, the bird is also trying to do stuff. He doesn't have any combat capabilities yet, but if I give him a card, he might start become better and better. He might be due for a collapse. Point-wise, obviously it's the Woodland Alliance, and that's what I'm going to go with, just in order to let him catch up a little bit, I guess. Not to help the people who are ahead of me is, I guess, the more important way to look at things. And then we'll create our wood, which should be 2 of them now, if I can find them. Collecting them up. It's always dangerous. They can get hit, and they're worth a victory point each when people crack them. And now I'll put a little bit of thought into what I'm going to do for the turn. So used to thinking with the camera, I can't. I'm having trouble doing without it. You get in a different mindset when you're playing things on camera than off. Okay, so I can't do any crafting because I only have one workshop, and that's got a bunny, and I don't have anything that has a bunny on it, or just a single bunny, which means the rest of my turn is basically figuring out what I want to do and what I want to build. I've got 3 wood. 3 wood. I probably want to build another workshop. Is there one of these I particularly want? They're both kind of cool. This ignores all rolled hits. That's probably more potent. So I'm going to spend a wood. I'll spend it from back here because this looks dangerous. And I'll look for a foxy. I don't control this, so I can't build it there. I don't control this, so I can't build it there. Uh-oh, maybe I can't build the foxy. Which kind of sucks. So then I look for a mousy. Maybe I can't build shit. Because I don't control much of anything. Interesting. All right, give me my wood back. I got problems. Well, obviously I want to get myself to a place where I can build, which means I can do a march. I'm going to kind of count how many things I do by doing it like this. And I'll gather this group up. I hate leaving that weak. Jeez. This is not an easy place for me to build units. Of course, they do come back there. And is it protected? I think it's hostile that's the issue. I gotta look that up. Basically, the question is, can anybody just run through this? Or are they blocked because they don't control it? Well, interesting. You have to rule it. You have to rule one of the provinces to move through, or one of the spaces to move through it. But someone could very easily move to here, they rule that, move to here, have enough pieces that they rule that, and keep going, pushing through. So I don't feel like I'm completely safe, you know. These, there's a fair number of pieces. Those are going to be hard to penetrate. This, not so hard. However, mousies, there aren't a lot of mousies. I can do it this way. I'll do my move. I'll move like this. Then I do my build. Now I was going to build one of these. That gets me a victory point. And now I have a... I cannot craft at this point. It's too late. So, what else? I've done 2. I've done a build. I have another build available I could do. And for 2 points, I could produce some more wood. Is that wise? I now control this. So I could build that up. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. I'm not recruiting though. I could spend a bird and do something extra. In which case, I probably want to build a recruit. That's full. This is probably where I want to recruit, if I'm going to recruit. Oh, but that's near. No, they're not actually that nearby. Okay. So that was my third action, was a build. Now I'm going to blow a bird. I'll throw this one away. Yes, it's great, but I don't think I'm in a position in Birdsong, you may, yeah, I don't think I'm in a position to start building that at any point in the near future. And I'll do a recruit. And since I should have 3 of these on the board. That's what it claims. Right? Geez. Wow, I made a little army center there. That may not be wise. I think I'd rather have it here, if that's the case. So I built one there, and one there. Yeah. Okay. And I built something, I get 2 more victory points for building it. And now I get 2 cards at the end of my turn. I have 2, so I'm okay. And I'll look at these. All right, on to the next. Start to get larger and larger in your hand. You have more that you got to do. As you got more of this going, whatever's happening, things just start kind of snowballing, as they do in a lot of games of the kind of Euro variety. One thing that's, and I'm having trouble, I'm also having trouble with the step away and give a narrative. Why is that? Well, it's because the little actions are important things. There's not like this large period of, yep, and a position for a big attack over here or something like that. And it's kind of the same problem I have with coin. I can say, well, they did this. But here, because of that snowballing factor, because I'm doing more and more, especially with the birds, but with other powers too, as I'm doing more and more, it becomes more of a, each one of those steps is important, and there are enough of them that I kind of can't step away and say, what it ends up coming down to is, yep, and they did some stuff, and here's where we are. That's about all I can express it as. I can't say, and I made an attack on the left flank, which largely failed. It's not a big enough chunk of information. So I'm left with, hey, which thing do I put in the decree? Well, I think I want to start doing battle. I think it's about time to. I have a card that's useless for anything, which is this one. So I'm going to tuck that into the battles. But now I can craft using my cards. And at this point, I kind of have to look and see, well, what do I want to give up? What do I want to use? Obviously, the ambush I'm holding on to. But I've got 2 foxes or 2 rabbits, which I can use. Well, let's start looking. What do I actually control? I control this. I control this. That's a fox and a mouse. A fox, a mouse, and a rabbit. I control this. Okay, a fox, 2 mice, and a rabbit. I control this. 2 foxes, 2 mice, and a rabbit. 2 foxes, 3 mice, and a rabbit. Okay, so I can build anything I want to, and I can probably build both of these if I want to. Unfortunately, I don't have the builder who ignores my disdain for trade, which means these guys will only make me a victory point each. However, the quantity of goods that are available goes away pretty quickly. I definitely want to do the bake sale. So that's going to I said I had 2 rabbits. No, I don't think I have 2 rabbits. Okay, so I can't craft this. I'm going to craft something. I'm going to craft with the arms trader. That gets me a victory point as I grab the last dagger, and that puts it here. I become someone that the raccoon doesn't really want to trade with because he doesn't have any bags. And I say I'm good with these. And now I start going through the decree, and I'll come back probably at the battle. Move Bunny to Fox, Fox up to here, and then I had one extra move, and I pulled back from Mousy to Rabbit, whatever, because I have so many moves logged in here. Now I get a battle, and I think I'm going to whack the cat here. I don't know. I don't really have a better attacking place. Unfortunately, this guy would kind of like to kill buildings. So I'm not really in the best of position to do this. But from here, I could launch an attack there. You know what? Instead of this, I think my move is going to be this. Let's make it that. And now I'll do the battle over here. Now, the cat cannot ambush, even if he has an ambush card, which he might. So we just have a battle going on. And I don't know if we've seen many of these. I roll 2 dice. I roll a 1 and a 0. I do a point of damage. I kill a cat. If he has a bunny, he can save that cat. He does. He has birds. I'm gonna discard a bird to save this one. I didn't get any kills on there, so that's it for that. But now I get a build. Now, here I still have control, so I can build this. Remember, I can only build in new areas. I was kind of hoping to kill something here, then I could build a roost there, but now I've got more control there. I drop down, I get my 4 victory points. I'm doing pretty damn well with the birds. They're dangerous. And then I will be getting 3 cards, and I have room in my hand for 3. Mouse, or the Woodland Alliance set himself up so that he has enough cards to throw another revolt. This is important because it destroys these 2 cats. Mousies. I could save one with this. This is a useful card, but I'm worried about getting overwhelmed. That shows up as a building, and I get warriors equal to the total number. That's only 1 again. I can't spread sympathy. I go to my turn. I can craft using sympathy. Well, I have a mouse and a rabbit. I could create root tea. I'm going to do it. It's worth 2 victory points to get me another item. And I'm starting to look more attractive for the Vagabond to come down, but he's pretty far away, so I don't know how much he's going to help me. Of course, he could team up with me if he thought he could make it so I could win, but that's probably not wise. He's doing pretty well on his own. And now, let's see. I can mobilize or train. Well, I have this dominance. 3 foxes at the start of Birdsong. You know what? I'm going to burn both of these in there. I have 1 officer. That 1 officer will continue to recruit troops. Battle organize. Yeah. I feel like I'm more in danger. I don't know. This is more threatened. I don't know. They're both threatened. We'll go there. And then I will be getting 3 cards. One of the problems with the Woodland Alliance is if they kind of build up, they become powerful. And if the birds build up, they start cranking victory points. You know, the cats start up pretty big, but they have lots they can build up, but they're building up, get some victory points. But these guys, if they start building up, they start becoming a military power. Right now, they're not really one, but the capability to throw a lot of cards in here, that'll give me the capability to start throwing more support and sympathy everywhere and causing real issues. I followed the rules on spread sympathy. It might have been in those two. I don't think so. I think I have, but I certainly forgot about that. Anyway, on to our vagabond. No one has a sack for me. That's what I really need. I don't have a capacity to build a sack. I can't grow a sack. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to recover, recover, and recover. That's my 3 free. Then I'm going to spend 2 boots to move down here. And I could do this, but not yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explore. We'll see what I find there. I find a sack. Awesome. That's important, and I get a victory point for finding it. And that means I'm in slightly better shape in the sense that I can start building more things if I want to. I don't have much left. I could do an attack. I have a 2 combat rating, or I could aid someone. Well, there's absolutely no reason for me to aid the cat. I don't even know if I can. But I could aid the bird and grab myself another dagger. But the problem is I need to do 2 aids to get victory points off of him. And I'll wait, you know. I'll wait until I have two items that I can use for that. That's going to put me to drawing a card. I have too many cards, though. Do I just want the dagger? I'd be better at fighting with another dagger. Kind of doesn't cost me anything. Why not? All right, let's see what I'm doing here. I could create an anvil. Anvil is nice. That would allow me to produce 3. So I could get like the favorite rabbits. That's a pretty powerful card. So I don't want to give either of these up. Brutal tactics. How about 2 rabbits? See, the problem is I'm really good at producing big things, and this would be worth a lot of victory points. I would get this as draws. Let's take that dagger. I have to expend a dagger to get that dagger, but now I have room for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm sorry, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 items. Not perfect, but whatever. And now I'm able to draw. Now I have room to draw a card, which was kind of the problem here, was I didn't have enough room to draw a card. And that gets us through this set, and I'll set up for the next turn. I did not get any victory points off of my trade, so these go away. And I'm having a hard time finding victory points at this point. You know, I got up to an early lead, but the birds are beginning to worry me. They're ahead of me, and they're cranking victory points every turn. And there's not really an easy way. I don't know if there's a way to get rid of people's victory points. So for the cats, and I got kicked out on time. I dropped my wood on the table. I can't craft. Question is, of course, do I want it to aim towards this tax collector, who I'm not really thrilled with his capability. Of course, what else am I going to use with my card? I can always overwork with it, which actually applies. Somebody mentioned they thought they saw me use a card in a build action. I think what that is I used the bird to get an extra action for it. I'm not positive, but I do remember doing that, and I obviously don't remember, well, I have remembered breaking the rules at certain times in certain games, but I do not remember making a mistake in the rules in this one, but that doesn't say anything. It could have happened. Looking at the situation, I'm very worried about the birds and how many points they're gathering. They're getting 4 a turn. I can't produce that kind of pointage. I got to do something about them. I may be the only person who can, which to me leads me to say I got to figure out a battle plan. And to do that, I don't know what to do. I like building, but I think I got to do some fighting. Which may mean launching an attack here and here to try to crush those. I'm going to pull away while I try to figure out how I'm going to pull this off. To improve my odds, because I get very little in points for this, I am going to do a recruit, which gets me, I should have a 3rd recruit somewhere. 1, 2, 1 down there. Okay. Wow, I actually have a lot of places I could fight. I'm going to do a move. I hate exposing this. I don't know if I want to do that. I get to do 2 moves, though, with a given move. So I'm going to move from here. I'm going to move here. This is too big to really fight. I can do both those moves. And now, shit, I can only do 1 battle. Oh, no. I'll move. Gets me 2 moves. I can do 2 battles, yeah. Okay, so I've got 4 versus 1 bird here. Well, I am in mouse, and both attacks are in mouse. He has too many cards. I have an ambush, but it's not good. I'm not sure why he has too many cards. I hope that I didn't overdraw at the end. I think he was given a card by the Tinker. Okay. And I forgot to draw an extra card. Shit. I wouldn't have been able to do that, and I will give it to the poor Woodland Alliance because they're so far behind in points, but it actually helps them more. Give it to the damn Tinker. It doesn't do him much. The only thing he can do is give cards to people. Okay. And he's so fatigued that he probably can't do much of that. Does this change my world at all? A mousy card. That would... I don't think so. Because basically, I would be overworking if I could, but I need to make these attacks. So let's make my first attack here. I don't think the bird has anything going in favor of him. So 3 cats, 1 bird. Which means we do 2 damage. 1 cat is killed. This isn't a mousy. I'm gonna save the cat. And I killed This, which doesn't do anything, but this gets me a victory point. My way to catch up. And then we're going to attack up here too. It's important to pick on forces that are kind of small so that you can get to the buildings. And again, I don't think this is getting in this space. I don't think it does anything. That's again a 2-to-1. The cat does not have a mouse to expend this time, but he gets another victory point for killing another bird. And we have cut in by 1 to the victory point production for the bird. How big a deal is that? Geez, I don't know. It doesn't seem big enough, but maybe if other people are doing something. Well, let's go see about the bird. And he hasn't collapsed yet, which is pretty epic. Collapsing is something you have to do occasionally, and you just have to try to set it up so that it works right. You know, somebody say, well, sometimes people accidentally fall into a collapse they could have prevented, or don't plan to time their collapse or whatever. Yeah, it's a point that you want to time your collapse, but here's the thing. You never actually do want to collapse. The only reason you're collapsing is because it's breaking the rules. There's nothing good about collapsing. It gets you a new leader, which could be valuable, but it is your penalty for being the birds. I can do in a turn. I'm going to play in recruit again. I'm starting to lose some pieces. I think I can afford yet another rabbit recruit. Jeez. Is this wise? I don't know. But if I have a pile of troops here, it helps things. I'm also going to craft some things. I can craft a rabbit here, and I can craft a mousey, I think, here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to craft this woodland runners. That gets me the last boot. I get a victory point for that. And that's just going. And I'm going to craft sappers. As a battle, I can discard this and deal an extra hit as a defender. Because I'm under attack. Now the hard part of all of this is trying to arrange things so that I can get this build off. I want to make sure that I get it off. Otherwise I'll go into collapse. I should be able to. There are my troops. Move from Bunny, and I could just guarantee my build here. They could also move out of that space, but from Bunny into here. This gets me control. That's good enough. I got a fox and an anywhere. Well, the fox is kind of the problem. I have control here. I have control here. And then I have an anywhere. I do not have control up here. That's kind of interesting. Which means I can't move to any of these spaces. I'll move this with the fox, I guess. I don't know that that's terribly where I want him, but it's not particularly useful to go into some place where I will not have control. And now I have a birdie move, which I could go back to the fox. Having real trouble finding a move I want to make here. I'll move there. For my battle, I'm going to attack here. The cat can't ambush. I don't think there's anything exciting he can do about it. This. Okay. He's defenseless, so I do 3 hits. That gets me 3 victory points. And this is the problem. I seem to have left, you know, I did some attacks on the bird, but I left a weak spot that allowed the bird to attack. Now I'm allowed to build, and I have multiple places I could build. I could build down here, which has its advantages, but you know what? I got all these money builds, recruits. I want to have a second place where I can possibly grow them, because that's something that affects me. And that's our entire decree. We get our victory points. It's 4 again. We're just coasting to a victory here as it stands, which may mean people have to think about these guys pretty hard. In fact, the cat probably should have been thinking about them. But because I walk away, it doesn't work very well for me to think. Now I get 2 cards, and I may be over 5. I'm getting a lot of birds, which is useful. I am at 5, so I'm okay. The 2 cards are actually not terribly useful. One of them is winning on 2 opposite corners. The cat could actually conceivably do this. He's got a fairly large force here, but he can't just move right into there. And here he doesn't have a lot of troops near it. But if he could get either of the 2 corners, he would be in a position to do that. The other side of it is 3 rabbit clearings. That's not easy right now. Obviously these little mice and stuff are not very powerful, and the cats have 1. They could probably get a second one, but the third one is tough. This is, again, not near their strength, and this one not easily accessible right now. I can build up to it. Anyway, for the Woodland Alliance, they're just not in the game for those yet. And they got such a slow start, I think they're kind of hosed. What I'm going to do is, since I have a sympathy over here, I am going to burn this. 3 fox clearings. Uh-oh. Let's see, does anybody have that? Let's not count this one, because we'll take that away. This one's cat. This one's bird. There's got to be another one. Another cat. So the cat's already at 2 fox clearings and close to a third. We really don't want to give him an opportunity to get an automatic win. But on the other hand, this is worth a point to the bird to take this away. So I feel like we have to do our revolt there. That will destroy a cat who will recover. Just because we can. A bird, which can't recover. This stays. We kill a bird thing and get our victory point. We get our base there, and we get a warrior there. That gets rid of 1 and opens up he had another dominance option. Those aren't in the 2-player game, which is really cool because they'd be too easy. That gets me to the player actions. What do I have? I could build three mouse clearings. I could build. Now I've built my bases. Which means what? I could spend 2 to expand into another mouse clearing with sympathy. How much does the sympathy really do me? That's a good question. I get victory points as I build those, so that's kind of nice. But other than that, they're just tokens for people to destroy. So let me think about this. I cannot build this boot. What might I want to do? I could train another officer. I think that's probably in my best interests. So I'm going to spend a card and pull an officer here. Mousies, I could actually train more officers. The problem is too many officers. I don't have a lot of troops to begin with available. So I'm going to drop these into here, unless there's something I wanted to craft. Code breakers. No, I do not like that card. Okay. And now, what can I do with my officers? Move, recruit, battle, or organize. What's organize? Remove warriors, place sympathy. Well, that's kind of useful. I don't know if there's a limit to how many sympathy I can have in a space. I have to look that up. I'm in kind of a tricky position here. You can only have one sympathy per space, which is what I thought it was. So I have no easy way to generate those points. Do I want to just move and organize? I don't know. I just don't feel like I have enough troops. So I think what I'm going to do is recruit twice. I'll put somebody here. That's probably sufficient to defend that. And I'll put someone here that uses my 2 officers. I feel pretty damn weak though. But at least I get 4 cards. And that's going to require a reshuffle. The problems with the birds doing well is they're not a great source of points. The cats are a pretty good source of points. They have all these buildings around. They have piles of wood that you can destroy. The woodland guys might be a source of points, although you strengthen them when you hit them. But the birds pretty much have 1 point you can take wherever you're hitting. I'm kind of looking at, does the vagabond want to try to just go berserk on the birds? Well, I can take one of these out, but that's not helping me, you know, relative even to the bird. And that's problematic. So now if I slip into this woods, I could make a move with 2 feet getting into there. 1 attack might be enough to whack the crap out of this, get me some quick points. Which is kind of cool because I even get points for killing the cat. I can eventually get points there, maybe. Basically, what I'm looking at is if I trade with the Woodland Alliance, I can get T and recover more pieces. And I might be able to get in a position where I want to grab one of these cards and just ally with them. I'm having difficulty getting myself much in the way of victory points. If you can gather a bunch of quests, you can kind of crank points quickly, but I don't think I'm in a position to do that. So what I'm going to do, let's see what I'm going to refresh. I need to refresh 2 of these. This thing lets me remove 1 piece. I think a dagger is more effective to me. I actually think the crossbow is kind of iffy to me right now. That's not a dagger. Okay, so there's my recovery. I slip into here. I spend my 2 attacks, or my 2 moves to go into here, and I blow 1 of my attacks. Did I have something I could craft? I really didn't. I could have crafted an anvil. That would get me 2 victory points. But then I'd have to throw something away. And I didn't want to do that. But I'm going to have to throw cards away anyway. Oh well. Yeah. I could give cards. I could have given cards to him for extra boots, but I'd have to throw them away too. And I really, this is, I think, the best that I can do. So I've got an attack coming. I've got a strength of 3. And the cat has a strength of 1. We might take some damage out of this. I do not. I do 2 hits. So I kill a cat. Does he have a fox? Probably. I'm not thrilled with this card, so we'll recover. I kill a cat, which is worth 1 point to me because I hate cats. And I get to kill a building. Now the cat gets to choose which building they want to take. I think they'll take this. It's not worth any victory points. To rebuild, though, that's the problem. That gets me 2 victory points, 1 for killing a building, 1 for killing an enemy building. I still have 1 piece left. There's not much I can do with that piece. So, I think we're done. Which means what? I pulled into second at least. I could be working with the Woodland Alliance. I just don't think that I can get them a win yet. So I guess I'm on here. I get a grand total of only 1 card because I don't have any coins. And I have to discard down to 5. And then I'm still good with that. So that's the cycle. Let's see. Excuse my delays. After going dancing, Saturday's kind of tough. I'm worn out. Great. I didn't do anything then Sunday. I just fell into a complete lapse. It's Monday now. Between work and yard work, I didn't get much in. I'm probably past my bedtime already, but a certain despondency has laid into me where I'm avoiding things, and this is one of the things I'm avoiding. We did the kitty cat. Kitty cat got his bonus card, gave a card to the Woodland Alliance, built his wood. At the beginning of this turn, he had no craft shop, so he couldn't build anything at all. He took 2 build actions, built this, another wood production, and then he did a recruit. He's only allowed 1 recruit per turn. He's got a lot of things there. And, well, now we're drawing our cards. I think they're almost unstoppable at this point. I added another battle card. I built myself armors, which they can avoid all rolled hits taken. And I built them a victory point and a bag for the raccoon if it wants to trade with me, which it may want to do, but that will give me more cards. My recruiting split between movement. I actually shifted out of here because I can get majorities in all 3 adjacent areas, so nobody's going to be able to get to me, I think. Maybe I'm forgetting something that I should know. And now I have a couple of battles, and I'm set up for a couple of good places for battle, here and here, and no matter what happens, I'll have a build here. Now I may not want to take that. This might be more appealing. And instead of launching the battle here, I launched it over here. I launched both of them over there. It got me another victory point because I was able to destroy something. Basically, I wiped the cats out with a good roll. The warriors, but I couldn't do 4 hits. So the extra attack, pretty much that's a guarantee unless the cats have some kind of card against me. That put me to an even more unstoppable position. And we've got, I did the build over here actually, because I viewed this as less secure, which you might say, well, less secure sounds bad. Actually, I'm in some danger though. The cats could attack here. That could cause a problem. If the cats can attack here and here, they can prevent me from winning, or if somebody else can do that. But otherwise, I think I'm pretty much guaranteed the victory. And in fact, I'm probably guaranteed the victory anyway, because just because my turn ends doesn't mean I don't get the victory points. I still slip into evening and get my victory points in my card when I go into chaos. And I simply do not see a way, except I got another battle. I got another victory point. So I believe everybody's got one more turn before the game ends. The Woodland Alliance doesn't really think that it can, well, it knows it can't win. At this point, whoever left is playing for second. I mean, it's over. The Woodland Alliance built themselves another sympathy. That was worth 2 victory points. They crafted a couple of items, got some more victory points, not throwing anything into supporters. It kind of wouldn't matter. I could, I guess, sure. It doesn't make a difference. But now I actually created an officer using the training in the Fox territory. But now I have a fair number of actions I can take. Now, unfortunately for me, there's only one victory point that I can grab, and that would put me in a tie for last instead of last place alone. It's kind of hard to tell. Should I move a third unit in? I'll do one move. I could do 2 battles, or I could do moving an extra unit. I think 2 battles is more valuable and more likely to get my victory point that way. So, Cat doesn't have anything he can do. We kill one of these, and both of these are dead. Again, it really doesn't make a damn bit of difference, but the cat will save one of his pieces. This is dead. That's 1 more victory point. And that's pretty much it. I have 1 more action I could do, given my positioning. I mean, given that I can't do a battle, I could schwack this, but who cares? I'll just move there. There's no way the Vagabond can win the game. There's no way he can fall below second place. I'm going to call it right here. So far, the game I watched, the Birds almost won, and I think they eventually did win. I walked away before that would have been effective. I only watched a small part of the end, towards the end of the game, late, middle, early end. The game I played against my wife in 2 players, Cats versus Birds. I was playing the Birds. It's hard to judge, but I found them not trivial to win with. I went into collapse a couple of times, but I felt like I knew what I was doing, and I didn't really feel like I had a way of stopping them particularly, although I think I probably saw some things where I thought they would work better if I did them than what my wife was doing. And then in this game, I found, again, the Birds came to an excessive, a very, very easy victory. I don't think that says anything about balance. I think it says something about perhaps the ease of certain characters to play. I think they're right. These two, not really more complex maybe, but harder to win with. And it's funny because the Vagabond jumped out to a great lead early on, but now, and he could have gotten more points. But for the Cats, some of it is again, I think, ease of playing. Again, I've played the Birds once before, so they were more familiar to me, how to not mismanage their decree. But with the Cats, so there were a few interesting things. One is the Woodland Alliance went after the Cats. the cats were too close to these victory conditions. We couldn't leave them sitting there, and the Woodland Alliance is the one who kind of put them into play. So as soon as they came in, they had to make a decision. It looked like that those cards would benefit the cats the most. So I went after the cats to prevent them from getting the victory, which did a bit of harm to them. But the other thing is, I think it's very, very easy to pick on what's there on the board. It's not that important to smack the cat's stuff. I mean, it is. Their victory points get much, much higher as they can build more things. But their stuff that's there is so obviously doing them good things. Whereas with the birds, it's a little harder to kind of judge, whether or not you can attack. It's difficult to get a grasp on them. My cats were not aggressive enough. Look at how many troops they had, and they didn't go around smacking bird roosts. And that's really the problem. But could they? This was kind of the only place where they were gathering cats up that was within striking distance of the bird places. Now, why didn't I do it? Well, because I felt my own stuff was threatened. I play a very defensive game, and I think my own psychology of how to defend things. It's very hard to defend the whole board, so the cats can't do that, I guess. Whereas the birds can expand a little bit and start gaining regular victory points every turn, and that just fits with my mindset a little bit better. So I think I would have trouble playing the cats more than the birds. However, I don't know for sure. Some people might get a better grasp of the cats over the birds. This pre-programming may be more difficult for other people, even though I generally don't like that kind of thing. I feel like I can do things within it that are kind of valuable. Another thing is, my cards came out pretty good. I got forced into the bunny space, but I had a lot of bunny cards that I could set up in places where they wouldn't hurt me. So, I didn't have to make the hard choice of throwing down bird cards in places that maybe I don't need them that much. This certainly should have been targeted when it was their only bunny space, but it was hard to get enough cats there. I think maybe the birds are actually the easiest of the factions to play, just because you have this outlined in front of you. But they're also perhaps the easiest to beat up on, because if somebody's paying attention to that, it's hard to pay attention to what somebody else's pre-planning is and everything. Looking at some of the others, the Woodland Alliance, damn. I mean, they did not have a hand of cards they wanted to play. That was part of the problem. I think getting these out early would have helped them a lot. I forgot about the 10 victory point rule. So I'm like, can't put those out. But 10 victory points wasn't that hard to get to. The cats might have been able to win if I had thrown those out there. The other side of it, this guy, oh boy, did I find him to be problematic. Just very, very difficult to operate well. I think maybe I focused too much on the exploration, grabbing those 4 extra victory points for getting the ruins and getting some additional tools. But another thing is, other players weren't building many things, and especially not things that I wanted or could afford to get. It was, of course, important for me to get those bags going, to build my own stuff, and I didn't get a lot of quests done. Quests don't give a lot of victory points, though, either. So, I don't know. Well, actually, they do if you can concentrate, because, the first one's 1, the second one's 2. But unfortunately, my initial set of quests was 3 different colors. So I didn't have an obvious path to getting more victory points. I did jump out to a great lead early on. But I find it kind of hard for the Vagabond to, with his one piece, even though he's got some combat capability, to really blast someone else. To tell you the truth, the best combat capability looks to be the birds, because everybody else has a limited number of actions they can do. Yeah, the birds has a limited number, but it got very big. Like the cats can only do 3 actions. These guys can only do actions limited to the number of officers they make, and they have a very small counter mix. But the birds can make a small number of pieces, comparatively less than the cats have on the board, I think. And they start out with less pieces total, so I mean, I'm about even here. Even here. Yeah, I mean, there's clearly more cats on the board. But because I can, if I get lucky with my cards that I can throw in my programming, I can just keep rolling with them. It leads me to wonder a little bit about balance. But one of the things is, if there is a perceived imbalance, if the birds are seen as just, wow, you really do have to stomp them early and prevent them from growing. And the rules kind of suggest that, the player aids and stuff. If you really do have to stomp them, well, then everybody should be cooperating to stop them. Of course, the problem with that is, if you're cooperating to stop the birds, the cats are in a pretty damn good position too. So you have this kind of two much stronger players and then some weaker players. One thing that could easily happen, though, is you could turn. So I could see, the problem is the damn Woodland Alliance got off to such a shitty start. So they were always the only option available for the Vagabond to take, because the Vagabond jumped out to around 10 victory points pretty quickly. He could have cut a deal with someone else and maybe won the game with one of the players who was less able to win by pulling one of these. Anyway, that's my sort of, experiences from this playthrough. Obviously, I'd have to play the game a whole lot more, and probably playing it opposed, where I'm focusing on one character and trying to see what I'm doing and paying a lot of attention to that. And I really wouldn't mind it. It's an enjoyable enough game to play. I know some people have kind of said, it's just too Euro-ish and everything. There's a lot of direct conflict in this thing. It's got a map. It's enough to please me. You don't have to call it a war game, but it feels like I'm doing things that aren't too different from things that I do in a game like Geronimo, that I wouldn't call a war game, but I'd also say, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the storyline that develops out of that and everything. It feels like I have cohesive territory because of the movement restrictions and everything. So it does a lot that doesn't displease me. Anyway, I'm gonna send this sucker up and I'll come back with a review. I don't know, maybe tonight.